Hi there, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I will be showing you how to import data to DynamoDB. So in today's video, we will be talking about how we upload a CSV file to a bucket, and then we can write our Lambda function that will be importing the data to the DynamoDB, as well as we will add a trigger event in the S3 bucket. So whenever people add a CSV file to the bucket, it automatically triggers the Lambda function and it imports the data to the DynamoDB. Talking about DynamoDB, it is a fully managed NoSQL database service where maintenance, administrative burden, operations, and scaling are handled by AWS. So in order to know about the basics about DynamoDB, you can please check my previous videos. I will provide the link in the description. So in the previous videos, in one of the videos, I have explained about basics about the DynamoDB, about the table, item, partition, as well as the sort key. And in another video, I have explained what is the local secondary index and what is a global secondary index. So you can watch those previous videos. So in today's video, we'll be working on this concept. So a user will upload a CSV file to the S3 bucket. So we'll be creating one bucket and a Lambda function that will finally be importing the data into DynamoDB. So we'll create one table in the DynamoDB also. So for the lab, these are the things that we are going to do. Amazon DynamoDB table we are going to create first. Then we will create a S3 bucket in which we will be uploading a CSV file. Then before that, we will create a Lambda function also. And then we will test the CSV data import using that Lambda function, as well as we will create event triggers in the S3 bucket, add the trigger events. Then we will test whether the events are getting triggered whenever we upload a CSV file into S3 bucket. And finally, the data is being imported to the DynamoDB table. So let's move to the console. So first of all, we will go to the DynamoDB. Take care of the region also, because while creating a Lambda function within the same region, we have to create the Lambda function. So let's click on this create table. So we'll put the table name, just cloud tech underscore students, and enter the partition key. So you can see the partition key is a part of table's primary key. So I'll just put it over here, ID, and the rest of the things you can keep it default over here. Let's create a table. It will take some time. You can see the status is creating. You can refresh over here. Okay, that's it. So our table is active over here. Now we'll go to the S3 and we will create one bucket. So you can click over here and type S3 and we will choose over here S3. So I will click on create bucket name. Let's put it over here, S3 student DynamoDB. And again, the region I am keeping for all of them, like US East, North Virginia, US East 1. The rest of the permission, let it be there by default. So let's create a bucket. So you can see S3 student DB, DynamoDB. This bucket has been created successfully. Now we will upload one CSV file. So let's say in the previously uploaded. So I have created one file. You can see over here. You can also create one comma separated values files. This is the ID of the student's name and the subjects. So I'm going to upload this file into my bucket, add files, student.csv, and that's it. Okay, I will close this one. So this is for the test purpose. I want to make it sure when we create a Lambda function and when we execute it, automatically picks up a CSV file. Later on, we can add a trigger event to the S3 bucket. That we can do it later on. So now let's go back to our Lambda function. So click on this Lambda. Now here we will click on the create function, scratch, and make it sure here your region is North Virginia over here. And I will choose over here the function name. Let's keep it as S3 import, S3 import DyDB. And we will choose over here Python because I will be using Boto 3. And you can choose over here change default execution role. You might have seen in my previous video, I was creating role and all. So you can also use this option, use an existing role if you have given to that role permissions, or you can choose over here, create a new role or whichever you want, you can make it. Accordingly, you can choose it. So you can see over here, we can create a new role with a basic Lambda function, and this is the by default name that will be assigned to my Lambda this role. So what we can do, we can just click on create also, and we can enter the role name. Let's say my Lambda DB, Lambda DyDB, and we can choose over here AWS Lambda, AWS you can search over here Lambda, basic Lambda. We can choose over here this publish and all. Okay, we can give over here basic Lambda options. That's it. So that's the name of our that's the role name LMB my Lambda role DB, and we have chosen over here the basic Lambda edge for CloudFront trigger. So we will if anything is there, we can go back and we can change we can add some more permissions to it later on if our function is not getting triggered. So let's create the function. In the meantime, we can just go to the S3 console so we can keep our bucket open. So our bucket name was my student DyDB. So I'll go back to the Lambda over here. You can see this is the code that we are having. It's lambda.py. So I will be just replacing this one with my code. I'll just open my code over here, in which I'm using Boto 3. So I'll just replace this whole thing with my code. Now here, a few things we have to make changes over here. So our table name, I think that's the same name, or the buck, and only that thing we need to take care of that. And S3 is the client, DynamoDB is a resource. So let's check our DynamoDB also. So what was our table name? So we should provide the correct table name in this code. So you can go to the tables. Yeah, it is JS Cloud Tech _ students. I'll just change this one. Okay, so we can just click on the deploy. Now we can go to the configuration. So here we will edit this one and change this one to timer to 1 minute. And then click save. We'll go back to our code. So everything looks fine. Then we will go back to the test tab over here. So in the test tab, let's create a test event. Event name is here. We will put it over here. S3. So here in event name, I'm just putting CSV. And here we need to choose S3 put. Now, once you choose that one, you can see US East region. That is our bucket region and all object related put. Sources, example. So we need to change it over here. S3, this is the name of our bucket. We need to change it. So we will just copy the bucket name. S3 student DYDB. And we have to change the key over here. Basically, that is our table name. So JAS Cloud Tech. So I'm just copying these names. That's it. I think everything looks fine now. So now we will click on create. Save. And then we can go to the code over here. And it's already deployed. So just we'll go back to the test and click the test. So there is some problem over here. So you can see access denied. So as I said to you earlier, so we need to go back to our Lambda handler and give the permissions. So we will go to the IAM. So I will go to the IAM. And I will go to the roles. So my role name was my Lambda, this one DB. And you can see I will just give him some few permission, AWS execution. Let me check it over here. I can check from the other previous example also what were the permissions given. So that was my Lambda. So you can see over here in the previous role also I've given this is the AWS Lambda basic execution role that we need to provide. So let's go back. So my Lambda DynamoDB one here, AWS basic AWS Lambda. Again, some problem is there with the filters and all. So you can see these are the policies that are already attached. So we need to add the permission over here, attach policies, and then we can search over here AWS Lambda. So we need to give that AWS Lambda DynamoDB execution role, and we need to give it basic execution role also, AWS Lambda basic execution role. That's it. We will try with this, attach the policies, and I hope our Lambda function works this time. So we'll go back to the test and we will just test again. Let me go back to the code. Okay, close this execution and then go to the test. Again, some error has occurred over here. Access denied. So let's give them some more permissions. AWS Lambda, that is the S3 one. So let me give AWS Lambda full access. So now go back to the test. Still some problem is there. Let me close this execution. Let's go back to the test again. We'll close this one. We'll refresh. Okay. So it's fine. So that is CSV. Let's click on the test again. Again, some errors are there. Access denied. S3 bucket name repository. Let me check my JSON file over here. I think I did put it over here. My bucket name. So let's save this one and test again. So still some errors are there. Let me fix this errors. So we have provided over here the bucket name and chosen the event S3 put. Some problem is there. If I go through this, you can see Lambda handler S3 object name. So it is now this time there is no permission problem, because in the permission I have provided the full access to S3, full access to DynamoDB also, execution role also. So you can add the permissions over here. And if you don't, if some execution issues is there, like bucket access permissions and also, you can attach the policies over here by searching over here, like what are the policies related to S3. So these are AWS managed policies that you can attach. So I've already attached the DynamoDB. So you can see over here under my role, that was my Lambda DYDB. So I added the basic execution role and given the DynamoDB execution role also, as well as S3 full access, because it's going to pull up the CSV file from there. Now coming back to my function over here. So in this JSON file, this should be the name of the, let me try over here, students.csv. This is the file. This key is the file name that it is being searched for in the bucket S3 bucket. So let's test now. So you can see it has been executed successfully, and you can see the output because there was a for loop in the code. So it is just printing all the student names over here. Now our Lambda function has been successfully being executed. Now let's go to the DynamoDB over here. So in the tables, click on the table over here, and we will just refresh over here, and we can check the again refresh over here. My Lambda is getting executed successfully, but the problem I think again with something with the permission. So I'm giving this AWS DynamoDB full access because previously I've just given the execution role. So I'm giving the full access to the DynamoDB to this Lambda function. Now I'll go back to my Lambda and test again. Okay, so now it has been executed successfully. So we will go to our DynamoDB and check our tables over here, and you can explore the items. So still we didn't got anything over here. This means still we are having some issues with the permissions. So we need to fix those permissions first. So I just figured it out what was the issue with this one. So you can see the partition key ID, it is capital over here. And in our Lambda function, we were using it over here in the code. I was just written over here ID small. So just make it capital. And as our Lambda function was executing, it was pulling up the data from the S3 bucket and it was getting executed. It was showing in the console over here, but it was not populating into the DynamoDB because this partition key was not matching with the partition key that we created. So it was a capital ID. So we need to provide over here capital ID. That's what was the reason it was not working. So now if you test this one, you can see execution result. Now we will go to this DynamoDB over here, explore items, and you can see over here 6 items are being shown over here. Now our next task is like whenever we upload some files to the S3 bucket, so that should trigger our Lambda function. So we will go to the S3 bucket over here, and we will just open the S3 bucket. So we'll go to the properties, and you can see over here, we will go to the event notification. So we will create over here one event notification. Let's say I will put the name whenever we will upload a CSV file. No need of defining anything else. Just define the suffix because we want to keep this only a CSV file when it is being uploaded. So I'll just change the name CSV underscore file upload, and suffix let it be CSV, and all object we will keep it all object create events, whether it is a put or post or whatever it is. So all the object I'm creating it. Destination over here, we need to select the Lambda function. And what is our Lambda function? My Lambda DB. And that's it. Save the changes. Now we will go back to our bucket over here. Now in this bucket, I have another CSV file. So I'm having some data in this. So another 2 students I'm going to add over here. So I'll go to my bucket. Upload the file, add files, second file, and click upload. So it will trigger my Lambda function, and it will let Lambda insert the records in my DynamoDB. So you can check the logs over here. If you want it, you can go to the CloudWatch and you can check the logs. So I'm just showing you directly to the explore items. So you can see those two students, number 7 and number 8 has been added over here. So whenever some user will upload any CSV file to this S3, so the event will be triggered and it will execute our Lambda function. And Lambda function is basically importing the records from that CSV file to the DynamoDB. I hope everything is clear. So make sure two things we need to take care. One, the very first thing, the region should be same. And in whenever we are creating a role, better make a role first and assign the permissions. So anyhow, if you can create a new role at the same time, but make it sure you are giving the full permissions. Uh, if you want to give full permissions, you can give full permission, or you can give the put and write permissions to the DynamoDB such that your Lambda get executes and it writes the data to the DynamoDB, and your Lambda is having the access to the files that we are uploading in the S3 bucket. So in this one, I've just shown you with the full permissions. Try to avoid it. You can choose some selective permissions, but in order to test this, you can apply all the full access to the S3 and the DynamoDB. So after this, you can just wind up with deletion of the things. You can just go to the tables and click delete. Right over here, delete. Delete our table. Then you can go to the Lambda and you can just go to your functions and delete your Lambda function. Okay. So similarly, you can delete your files from your S3 bucket, and later on you can delete your bucket also. Just a cleanup in order to avoid any extra billing. So you can just go to the buckets, S3, DY, and you can delete it. You can also go to the IAM and you can just go to your roles. So whatever role you have created, this won't cost you, but in order to just keep it fresh, in order to avoid lots of roles, because in the upcoming videos we will be creating lots of roles and all, then we can add to it. So just in order to keep this area neat and clean, so we just, after using it, just I'm deleting it. That's it. So I hope you like the video, today's video. So you can just subscribe to my channel and look for the more upcoming videos related to DynamoDB, as well as I'll be working on some user management IAM, like how to create users, giving permissions, roles, and policies. So in the upcoming videos, we'll talk about the IAM, and then we can have some more videos with the Lambda, and we'll try to provide you some more videos related to the some projects and how we can incorporate the Lambda function. Now we are just using the Moto 3. We can use the C# and our Visual Studio in .NET also we can create it. So we'll try to provide multiple examples for how we can utilize this Lambda function, how we can call this Lambda function, how we can trigger the Lambda function. So thanks for watching. See you soon in the next video.